Cassandra's warning. The speaker, not the speech, matters. When you hear someone talking about the Greeks bearing gifts, or of Trojan horses, you should feel warned, somewhat alarmed even. You know that this means you should be afraid, that something very bad is about to happen, and be incredibly grateful to the person who warned you. That is because you have listened to these words of warning and heeded them. But what if you heard the words and didn't believe the person who said them, even if it was you warning yourself? This is The Gods Are Alive, Cassandra's warning. The speaker, not the speech, matters. Cassandra was a princess of Troy. She was intelligent, articulate, graceful and beautiful with hair like red fire. So beautiful was Cassandra, she caught the very eye of the god Apollo himself. Cassandra, however, was not in love with Apollo. Undeterred, Apollo sought to win her favor with a gift and blessed her with the power of prophecy, the ability to see the future. Cassandra, no doubt grateful for the gift, still refused his advances. Apollo was enraged that this mortal woman would dare to refuse him. In his fury, he cursed Cassandra. It is worth knowing that some gifts cannot be taken back, and a blessing from a god is such a gift. Once it's been given to a mortal being, they will have it until the end of their days. And so, Apollo, unable to take the gift back, became determined to ruin the gift that he had given to Cassandra instead. Whilst he had given Cassandra the gift of prophecy, he cursed her by ensuring that all her prophecies, whilst true, would never be believed. Still angry, Apollo added cruelly to his curse. He knew Cassandra was intelligent, and so might have tried to trick or lie to communicate her prophecies, and so he added to Cassandra's woes by forcing her to only tell the truth. Cassandra's curse was that even though she could only tell the truth, there was still nobody in the world who would believe her prophecies. Cassandra's story is part of a larger story, the Trojan War, and we need to know about the Trojan War to see how important Cassandra is and why her speech matters. The Trojan War is a story of a war between a coalition of Greek forces led by King Agamemnon of Mycenae and the city of Troy, led by King Priam. The war is famously caused by a love affair. The Spartan king Menelaus has a beautiful wife, Helen. Helen is so beautiful that she's considered to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Menelaus is not known to be beautiful. His name comes from the ancient Greek menos, meaning, among other things, rage, and this is a man who lives up to his name. Menelaus has a brother, Agamemnon. Agamemnon is king of Mycenae and has two dangerous qualities. He is cunning and he is ambitious. When Paris, a prince of Troy, is in Sparta, he sees Helen and falls in love with her. How could he not? This is, after all, the most beautiful woman in the world. And Helen, wife of the king of Sparta, falls in love with Paris, who is much kinder than Menelaus. In pursuit of their love, they run away together and flee to the city of Troy. Our heroine Cassandra might say that having an affair with the wife of the king of Sparta, a man literally named after rage, is not a good idea. But then again, who would believe her? Menelaus' brother, Agamemnon, spies an opportunity to increase his own power and destroy a major rival at the same time. He argues that what has happened is a disgrace to Sparta and to all Greeks, and that the Greeks should unite and invade Troy. Troy, the great and powerful city, should be destroyed. And so, the Trojan War begins. The Greeks invade Troy but find that they cannot take the city. Battle after battle produces no clear victor, and years pass, until Odysseus, king of Ithaca, suggests a new plan. The new plan is that the Greeks fake a surrender making it appear as if they have left Troy and pretending that the Trojans have won. In a last gift of peace, the Trojans leave behind a large wooden horse. Hidden inside the horse will be the finest Greek warriors, waiting and ready to strike. The only Trojan to know of this plan is Cassandra. She has seen this in her dreams. When the Trojans wake and see no Greek army, no Greek ships, an empty beach where the Greek camp was, and the Trojans believe that they have won, Troy has won, the Greeks are truly gone, and they've left them this wonderful gift of a wooden horse. It is at this point Cassandra famously speaks, "Beware Greeks bearing gifts." And those around her ignore the warning. The Trojans decide to bring the wooden horse into the city. Cassandra warns them again. In her mind's eye, she has seen that the wooden horse, the first Trojan horse in history, is a trap. She knows it. She has foreseen what will happen and warns the people of Troy. Again, they ignore her. The Trojans bring the wooden horse into the city. Cassandra pleads that this is a bad idea. Again, she is not believed. The Trojans decide that that night they will let their people drink and feast and celebrate their victory before retiring for a long-deserved sleep. Cassandra screams that they should be on their guard. The horse is bad news. This time the Trojans tell her to go away. She is at best annoying. They believe that Cassandra is spoiling the fun of what will be a great night. They mock her, berate her, humiliate her. Cassandra flees to the temple of Athena and waits. She does not have to wait for long. Soon after, the singing and dancing turns to soft slumber, and then it turns into screams. It's the Greeks. The moment that all of Troy is asleep, a secret door in the wooden horse opens up and outpours the strongest, meanest, fastest Greek soldiers. They slaughter the guards and open the city gates for the Greek army, which has been hidden all this time. The great city of Troy falls. Troy falls all because they could not, because they would not, listen to Cassandra. She never told a lie. Indeed, she could not, but nevertheless, they would not believe a word that she spoke. All of Troy suffered. All of Troy burned. In our world, Cassandra's curse is known more formally as the Cassandra Complex. It is a psychological phenomenon in which a person's accurate prediction of a crisis is not believed. It is credited to psychologist Melanie Klein, who described the condition in a single person, a refusal to believe what at the same time they know to be true. The Cassandra Complex can occur at an individual, group, or social level. An individual level is when you believe that if you do this thing, whatever it may be that you are thinking of doing, then there will be a bad outcome. When you think that you shouldn't do this, but you ignore that thought and do it anyway, you are experiencing the Cassandra Complex. It is when you ignore the better part of you, the part which advises you to do something or not, and you ignore and proceed regardless. We've all been there. When you can see that something bad will happen, you don't know how, but you tell others and you are not believed. Or perhaps more commonly, you've told yourself that doing something is a bad idea, but continue to do it anyway. Don't go out with him, don't see her, don't call them back. Or maybe you see something that isn't right and tell someone, but are ignored. Whistleblowers at companies often complain that they raised their concerns at the company but were not listened to. They raised concerns and were ignored. They voiced their worry and were shut down. They feel cast aside, ignored, excluded, and often are fired as a result of their attempted warning. Such people often feel vilified until the concerns they raised are, for the company's remaining employees, realized. Or imagine that you and others around you are telling the world a message which you feel is not being taken seriously. Environmentalists today may feel that they identify strongly with Cassandra. They've been warning others for a long time about climate change, irreversible pollution, and whole species being pushed to extinction. Like Cassandra, they've foreseen destruction and have raised alarm, and feel that this is not being taken seriously, that the response has been blah, blah, blah. We think that we believe a person because they speak truthfully. Perhaps it's more the case that if we find the person believable, creditable, or looks the part, then we are willing to listen to what they have to say. Advertising plays on this by using stereotyping. In each country, an advertiser will use a certain regional accent for a product that they wish to communicate as homely, honest, and has a good value, and a different one for a product that they wish to communicate as exclusive, sophisticated, and desirable. The voice that sells bread is not the same voice that sells cars. Cassandra's curse is not Cassandra's alone. It is a human trait that we believe the words said only if we believe the speaker based on our assumptions of them as a person. Maybe Cassandra's curse is not a curse, but a revelation. The words spoken need to gain entry to us through our eyes and not our ears. If we think the speaker is right for the message, then we listen. The psychologist Rodgers gave excellent advice on listening. If you can repeat the words that have been said by the other person and make these words clearer, more succinct, and as well formed as possible, then you've heard the message. You don't need to agree, but at least you've heard the message. Just be careful, in case the person is a Greek presenting you with a gift. This is The Gods Are Alive, where we explore myths and their modern equivalents, stories of gods old and new, and what truths they have. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Thank you.